Hi, welcome to day 4 of the 7-day photo challenge. Day 4 is all about, and I'll put it on the screen here, minimalism and symmetry. Henry Turner style. Now I've seen a video of his once or twice doing minimalism, so I think this qualifies. Seek out minimalist compositions and symmetry in everyday scenes or architecture. Look for clean lines, patterns, and balanced compositions to create a sense of calm and order. So it got me thinking, what are some tips that I might be able to pick up? So we've got 1, embrace negative space. Use empty space around your subject to emphasize its importance and create a sense of calm or isolation. Simplify the composition. Keep your composition clean and uncluttered. Eliminate distracting elements that don't contribute to the main subject. Focus on lines and shapes. Look for strong lines, shapes and patterns that stand out against simple backgrounds. Use symmetry and balance. Seek out symmetry and create balance in your compositions. It can create a sense of harmony and order. Mindful of color. Minimalist photography often uses limited colours or tones. Choose a colour palette that enhances the simplicity of your subject. Play with light and shadows. Use light and shadows to add depth and drama to your minimalist compositions. Soft light can be particularly effective. Find interesting textures. Minimalism doesn't mean lack of texture. Look for surfaces or details that add visual interest without overwhelming simplicity. Focus on a single subject. Sometimes a single, well-chosen subject can convey more than a complex scene. Make it a focal point of your composition. Experiment with depth of field. Use shallow depth of field to isolate your subject and background, drawing attention to its details. And finally, keep it simple. Above all, remember the essence of minimalism, simplicity. Aim to convey your message and evoke emotion using a few elements. So I find myself here in Dungeness. Dungeness, I was going to say Britain's only desert, but in order to be a desert, it has to be arid. And it's not particularly arid here because we've got growth. It's supposed to have one of the most abundant vegetation sources with different varieties anywhere in the world. I think it's reclaimed as well. However, we've got old boats, we've got isolated buildings, and we've got just bleak and barrenness. Talk about minimalism. So you saw me scouting out my first shot. It's an old fishing boat. Now, I don't think I'm going for things like lines and textures in this shot, or potentially any of my shots, but I am thinking about situating the subject as the main focal point in the image, either smack in the middle or slightly to the right or the left, depending on, where I take the shot from. I like the fact that we've got this grey overcast sky, so I'm only going to potentially have 2 colours. I'm going to have the greys and the browns of the shingle. Now I can increase the highlights, I can reduce the contrast in the image. So all things being equal, shot number 1 ought to be good. I'm quite enjoying this challenge because a lot of the subjects, ones to come and the one I'm doing now, not particularly something I ordinarily do in my everyday journey of photography. But one thing it's teaching me is that once I've done my 7-day challenge and I've picked up certain tips, for subjects, I'm going to be doing one called industrial and transportation, taking pictures of trains, for heaven's sake. I've never done that, but it may well be that as the weeks and months and years go on, I will say to myself, look at this landscape, and wow, there's a train coming. Take the picture. Anyway, I'm waffling. It's cold. I'm going to go into aperture priority, and I don't think it really matters. I mean, it says focus on depth of field, but I don't want a shallow depth of field here, do I? You can see the image. What would I do? I would focus out all the foreground, but you know what? If I'm coming in and making the boat the focal point, I want to either split the horizon smack in the middle of the screen like that, and having the boat proud of the horizon, I can have it smack in the middle, or I can take it to the right and have lots of negative space. In fact, that's it. If I want to incorporate negative space in my minimalism, I'm having some problems with my camera today. Let me just reload the battery. Reload the SD card. Don't even know if that recorded. Anyway, that's my shot. I'm putting the boat in the left-hand third, and gosh, it's cold today. Left-hand third, lots of negative space. Let's come back out a little bit and give us some more negative space. This is pure minimalism. F10, a third of a second. Yeah, that's good. Could argue that the horizon isn't straight, but actually it's the lay of the shingle that's not straight. I might straighten it in post-processing. I want to take a picture of another boat there and an old derelict building, so I'll do those two together. Have this shot in the meantime. If you didn't know, my very first video on this channel was here at Dungeness, and I came to take a picture of this wonderful old boat. And I caught the boat, kind of like in a dawn type of thing. But since taking that video and that image, probably the very loveliest of old boats that was here was set on fire by some ne'er-do-wells, some vandals, some people with nothing better to do, and that's all that's left of it. Kind of makes a nice picture in itself, but it's tragic. Why do people do that? Anyway, I've got this boat over here, and I think I might stand in the trough and take a shot of it. It's about scouting out the scene. Behind it, we've got all the sea. So actually taking a shot of it from here won't work because there's no minimalism, is there? I want to isolate the subject. So the only thing to do is to come on from this angle, I think. Let's have a look. Something like that. Get down low. Yeah, I think that'll be a nice isolated shot. I could possibly go handheld, actually. We shall go handheld. Hat on backwards so that I can see through the eyepiece. And I can't give you live view because there's something wrong with my camera. So I'll have to put it on auto ISO so that I've got enough light, because I want to use the shutter priority just so that I don't have the tripod, so the lowest speed I can go is 1/30th of a second, f4.5. Doesn't tell me what the ISO is at this point, but I might even get lower than this. We get on our tummy. Hello there. I feel like a sniper. What's that guy? The actor, American Sniper. Lines, leading lines. I need to come to the left here. And now the camera's lost me. I am here, honest. Will it pick me up if I do that? It's supposed to do face tracking, you see. Anyway, you get the gist. I'm here. Ground level. That will work. Increasing the exposure compensation because it was a tad dark. You can't rely on that screen, I tell you. I've got to get over here for this last shot. Minimalist photography. If I came out and did this I'm carrying tripods, I'm carrying a cine camera, well, DJI. Cine camera's a thing of the past, isn't it? I would just rock up with my camera and do it all by myself and not have to worry about doing a vlog. And I think that's what's distracting me, especially when the camera keeps losing focus on me. Still, we love a challenge, don't we? Okay, so we're looking at this, and it's some kind of old hut. But I've got the lighthouse in the background, but I've got windows in it. So if I can get myself about here, then I can isolate it from everything else. That looks quite good, doesn't it? I've got some leading lines in the foreground. And just nothing else. I've got twigs and everything on me. I'm rolling around in the shingle. Well, at the risk of... I used my SD card earlier today to transfer files from the computer onto my laptop, and I should have formatted the card before I started today, because I think it still thinks it's a file transfer SD card. Foolish thing. I'm going back into aperture priority. I'm going to turn the ISO off. I want it to be at 100 to reduce noise. And I don't need to worry about shutter speed because I'm on the tripod. So get the exposure compensation back to 0. Look at that, just blank sky. Now I've got the lighthouse on the right and there's some kind of radar post on the left. So it's a case of coming in until I lose those and then just have the building. How far can I come back without introducing the objects? It's about that realm. Not a lot of negative space there, but I suppose I could lift up a little like that. I just thought it would be a good shot, you know, a building with just a blank upper half and kind of greens and browns lower half. Because I'm doing minimalism and I've only chosen this one location, I'm kind of restricted to the things that I can photograph, you know, and it goes back to what I was saying back there, that as I progress with my photography, I'll start thinking minimalism. I'll see a subject and I'll think, ooh, I could make that a minimalist image. And of course you can do things like use an ND filter. You're at the seaside and there's a single object in the sea. Long exposure. You can do fine art photography with minimalism and then kind of clone out all the objects and just have a blank canvas with a subject in the middle. And I might do that with these, you know. With whatever other pictures I take, I might do some cloning. Anyway, so I can come out here. I want to introduce the line. So what I'm going to do, even though I told you, seagulls, sounds like humans. Even though I told you I was going to crop in so that I don't have the other objects, I might take you back to the studio to look at this one, at how I do my in-painting and cloning. I might not. We'll see how I feel about that. I might be too embarrassed to show you. Right, we want lock the focus in so it doesn't alter. I'm going to push that f-stop to f14. It wants 1 second. Not particularly worried because there's no movement in the scene. I decided to move you so that you can see what I'm actually taking a picture of. I think you can see it anyway, can't you? I want the face tracking to not track me in this instance. There you go. That's it. That's what I wanted. You can see the house, but I've got the lighthouse, I've got the mast. I'm going to clone them out. I've decided. It's getting dark, so I better hurry up. 1 second. Hold that strap because it's a bit windy. Yeah, that's good. That is minimalism. There's a couple of more that I want to take a picture of just up here. So before it gets too dark, I'll give you these two shots and then I'll go over to that one over there. I want to take a picture of. Good. Well, whoever thought about doing minimalist photography in winter? And at Dungeness, I'm freezing, I'll have you know. All for the sake of photography, but it's a good thing. I've got this scene, and I think it is the epitome of minimalism. We've got this walkway that just goes off to the horizon, and I've taken it, and I want to take it in such a way that we don't get any of the sea. So the horizon is split with the shingle just and the footpath going up. How minimalist is that, eh? That's the only thing in the picture, apart from a dividing horizon of browns and greys. So it shouldn't take long to take this composition. I think I'm just going to leave it. The question is, how far do we take the path? Because we know that minimalism does include leading lines or specific lines. So yeah, just a shot, because it is a case of seeing how many I can get out of this today. F16 at a fifth of a second, ISO 100. Very pleasant. Have the picture. I'll go and see if there's anything else on this shingle beach. I'm very much aware of the wind. I think these dead cats, these wind mufflers, do work. I think they're excellent at their job. But I'm standing with my back to the wind, and I walked from over there because I saw this. It's some kind of control tower. It looks like it's more appropriate in an airport, isn't it? I like it. I like its starkness, and it just situates itself proudly on a barren atmosphere. I love the fact that we've got a grey sky, because this could be a good shot in black and white. But I'm thinking for this shot, I want to put the placement of the building right in the middle of the picture. I don't think I want a, what would you call it, a square crop. Might just leave it as landscape. I've got a couple of people walking by. If I can include them on the horizon, then all the better. So there's my live view. Let's bring it out. See the couple. Do we have it smack in the middle of the horizon like that? How close do I come in? That's 18 mil, too far out, but I think that's quite good. And I think I'm going to take two shots just to see what happens with that couple. So at f16 it wants a third of a second. Take the one shot without the people. Looks quite good. There's the couple again. Take it with the minute. I've got couples everywhere. I've got the couple on the left, I've got a group of people coming in on the right. I'm not particularly sure if that constitutes minimalism, if you include people in, because I might then feel, oh, I wish I hadn't put them in, and then I'll clone them out. So, yeah, that'll do. So, that's it for Dungeness. I did see one scene that I want to do on the way back to home, or base camp. Make it base camp. Makes it sound like I'm out in the middle of nowhere, doesn't it? Well, I am. I'm at Dungeness. I'm right on the peripheries of a power station, a nuclear power station with an old lighthouse. And I think I've driven 20, 30 miles to get here. So I am in the middle of nowhere. Well, I lost my train of thought. I want to show you this picture. I might do it with the processing at home. Otherwise, here's the picture, and I'll go to that very last location that I was talking about. Well, I've made it. I wanted to do this last scene just before... It's getting dark now. I'm losing the light, so I've got to be quick. There was an accident on the Great Stone Road, and I saw it as I was going to Dungeness. But in fact, they've closed the road, so I had to go back via Lydd and then New Romney to get back to Littlestone. Because this is the scene that I want. As I was arriving, I noticed all these little benches propping up, just on the bank. And I thought, if I can just get an isolated shot of the bench, it's getting dusky, so I've got to be quick. I'm setting it on auto ISO so that I can get enough light in onto the sensor. I'm going to shutter priority so that I've got a 30th of a second. I can handle that on handheld. And I think it's just a case of crouching down to lose the sea so that the bench is right on the horizon. So I'll show you that again. I've got two compositions, I think. Single subject at 18mm, straight in. Then I'm thinking I'll put it in the lower left third and give myself lots of negative space. Because that's what it says about minimalism, isn't it? So... that's it, that's that one. And I'll come out and place it at the bottom left-hand third and give myself lots of negative space. Perfect. So I got the shot. I was thinking about it because I was driving here as I was going to Dungeness, and I was thinking, I'd like to take a shot of that because that's minimalism. Minimalism, it's not something I would recommend you do if you've got an afternoon like I have. I've done it for the challenge, but I think you might want to think about doing a whole week just to get it in your head. Negative space, leading lines, single subject, all of those things that I said at the beginning that kind of are incorporated in minimalist photography. I've enjoyed it. It's been a good little exercise. And now that I've done it, I think that I could start incorporating some of these techniques into my photography. So there you go, end of day 4. Tomorrow's day 5. I think you're going to like day 5. Should be a good one. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.